Few years back, I was waiting for a friend and I happened to be sitting in front of Vidhana Soudha and I was just looking at the building. My thoughts, like any other day, started flowing around the idea of democracy and how beautiful it is for humans, and then how democracy kind of facilitates a dialogue between the most powerful and the most kind of innocent mind. And looking at the sunlight, how it falls and goes into different spaces within the structure, how they have this freedom to kind of enter. And at the same time, how as a person I cannot enter, there's a lot of protection. How can art enter into this sort of space which is highly protected? It just so happened that I started thinking about reflecting light through a small mirror, like any other child would play and get a shiny object and start reflecting it into different surfaces. Sridhar Podar from Kash in a conversation, he said, why don't you do a project, children project, which I'm very fond of, doing projects for children. Education Department of Karnataka, which really was very supportive. They also suggested that we can work with government schools.
ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಲೆಗೆ ಬಂದು ಆಶಾ ಕಿರಣ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟನ್ನು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೂ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ, ಶಾಲಾ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ, ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಶಾಲಾ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಬಹಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯಿತು. ನಾನು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕೇಳಿದೆ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಬರೀ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾತ್ರನೇ ಟೀಚ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಚಿತ್ರಕಲೆಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯಾರೂ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟಾಗಿ ಅಂದರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಚಿಂತೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ ಬಂದು ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಆ ತರಬೇತಿಯನ್ನು ನೀಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರು. ಭಾಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯಿತು.
We invited few of the volunteers to come and join us, all the young artists. Basavaraj led the project to start planning the whole thing. We chose about 300 children from 10 different schools and then worked with them for about 10 days, producing paintings on a plywood which will eventually be fixed behind a mirror for the performance day. Painting would be about leadership, in nature. For example, can a river be a leader? And if it is a leader, what is the shape of the leadership? That was the primary communication which we facilitated with children.
ನಮಗೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಚಿತ್ರ ಬಿಡಿಸಿದ್ದು ನೋಡಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಚಿತ್ರ ಬಿಡಿಸಿದಾರ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ದಿಗ್ಭ್ರಮೆ ನಾನು ನೋಡಿ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಬಹಳ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿ ಚಿತ್ರಗಳನ್ನು ಬಿಡಿಸಿದ್ರು.
A child made a clock and we were very curious, how a clock becomes a leader. But then the child had an explanation how we all kind of follow clock in a way in our daily life. The child said, I go to school at the time, father goes to work at certain time, mom need to get few things at certain time. So the child saw leadership in the idea of time. Another child comes from a farming background, saw water tank as an important leader. So how water is stored and how it is used in the cultivation and so on. And then we fixed these paintings behind a mirror. All the children from 10 different schools to gather in front of Vidhana Soudha, and they all held their paintings in their hand in the afternoon so that we can get good reflection onto the building. And then we had a great opportunity to invite Education Minister Mr. Madhu Bangarappa to participate in this event. He was guiding some of the children to kind of reflect the light onto the text, where in Kannada it says, Sarakaratha Kalasa Devara Kalasa. Government work is God's work. They were singing Nada Geethe. That is the official song of Karnataka government. All those reflected lights moving on the building from one place to another. It was almost like a cluster, it was almost like bees moving in a group. All the people, officials, everyone who were working inside the building came out with this great degree of surprise. So it was quite magical to see all that as a spectator. Many of these children came and saw Vidhana Soudha for the first time in their life, though they live in Bangalore. It's not an artist-dictated project. No? It is more about cooperation or a dialogue or intersections of different people coming together. These paintings, after the display is done, all the paintings will be returned back to every child and they will keep it as a memory for the future. Sort of see whether their idea of leadership has been reflected when they become adults. Probably, I hope that will influence their growth and future in a way.